Hi, everybody. Welcome to our very first studio session where I have an injury. But we're not going to let it deter us. I'm not going to be able to be drawing tonight, but I can always play this, right? What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers and me, all of us under its spell. We know it's probably magic, and you guys are the magic. And a few hours ago, I didn't know that I was going to come on. I know it looks bad. I know I'm not even able to put my nice jacket on for you guys.
Bruce is a bit worried.
Okay. Here, let me introduce our hostess with the Muppet Mostest.
Hi, everybody.
There's Sydney. Sydney, who answers all of your stuff.
Yes.
What do we have, Sid? What do we have, Sid?
Today? We've got turtles. Lots of turtles. We have.
You went on a turtle run, didn't you?
I did. Look at all the turtle stuff I found. I found so much cool stuff. So,
All right.
And so we're probably going to make it a turtle day. But any questions y'all have, we will ask this guy.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be doing any drawing today. And you can kind of see why. I mean, I can put a puppet on. I'm sorry, I called you a puppet. Oh, that's okay. You can't use your hands to draw. Which might be great. Ha ha ha. Oh, thanks. Well, I have that sort of sense of humor. I've been with this guy a long, long time. He draws a lot. Some of them are even good. So here's what's going on, guys. This is nothing new. One of the things that happens when you've been drawing, I get the question a lot, do you draw anymore? How much do you draw? Sort of the people are asking me, are you retired or something? And no, I'll never retire. But I do have about 3 million miles on this arm. And, many of you have had bouts with carpal tunnel and that kind of thing. And no matter how many exercises I do and how much I take care of my arm, every once in a while, every 2 years or so, I get worn out. And I've learned enough since the first time I got worn out. The very first time that my arm started blowing out, and this is sort of like a baseball pitcher, or anyone that would use an arm for, a lot, strenuously. I get the question, how many drawings did you do, with the gym? And I always say around 2,000 a week. And that's not a finished drawing, but I have to do a lot. Roughing out ideas and jokes, even when I had a big studio, you know, redrawing the heads or the compositions and everything for stuff that I had assistance with. Anyway, these days I pretty much work on my own, although I have some wonderful assistants up in Connecticut. My dear brother Tom Brenner, who he and I have been working together since 1984 or 83, and he's still my art director. We painted all of those pictures like this, all of the books, he and I, like thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of airbrushing and gouache for all of the books, the babies, the tiny dinos, and then all of those Disney books and Tom and Jerry and all of the Muppet Baby toys. And I stopped having, so you get cortisone shots is the thing, and also sometimes you take prednisone. That's what I'm taking right now. And usually within about 4 days, if I don't draw, I'm back. And I come back. I always say I'll come back, you know, really calm, and I won't do a whole lot and everything. But we all know that that's a lie. Because then I get into things, you know. I do want to tell anybody that's waiting on things, it's odd. I can still sort of play the guitar though. I guess it's just because I just have to do this, you know. I guess, you know, I have a bunch of braces, you know. And play the guitar a little bit. But I really thought that I would come on anyway. Because you guys, I get asked a lot, what does it take, you know, to be you know, to be successful, to make a difference, to make this your job. And I know Sid has some questions about that, but one of the things that I do want to just say is that anybody that ever made the majors or professionals in anything, they practice more than anyone in the whole world. And you don't get good at anything unless you practice. And then you don't stay up unless you continue. There's that old saying that gets thrown around that, you know, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Well, I think that's hooey. I think that it's always a job. But like Jim said, jobs can be fun. It is a job. There are many times I don't want to work that moment for whatever reason. But then the minute I sit down and I start doing it, many of my cares fade away. I've always thought of my artwork and my writing as not just my voice. Do I put as much of myself into the characters that have been created by somebody else and that I'm working on them as I do my own characters that I create? The answer is yes. Yes. But especially with characters that I grew up on, like when I work on, you know, Pink Panther or Tom and Jerry, I would make myself a fan first and try to take myself out of it and imagine myself as a fan, and what would I like to see? What would that project look like? And then I would pour myself into that, just sort of being a vessel, you know? I remember one time when this happened very badly, was working with Dolly Parton. in 2017 because I wanted so bad to do all of those cartoons for her. You may not know this, but I did 13 animated cartoons for Dolly. And Dolly didn't know that the deadline was what it was. She thought that I had like a year to do it, but I didn't because Sony didn't call me until about 9 weeks out. And it was about a year's worth of work that needed to be done. Well, this happened about halfway through, and I pushed forward. And did I get injured? Yeah, I did. But I got around it. I go back to baseball all the time, or to football, or to track, or to an athlete where we know how to push through and give it our best and use our brains a little bit, to try to not overdo it when something like this is going on, so that we can come back and we can be the best that we can be again, for you. So anyway, I wanted to, even though this is going on, I wanted to come on and be with you guys. And I want to thank you all for, enjoying this time together with us. It means a lot to me. And, we've been doing some great conventions lately, Philly and Dallas. So we haven't been doing this very much. But anyway, I want to be sure that we answer a lot of your questions tonight. We have a bunch that were written in that Sydney has. And Sid's got a whole bunch of stuff for me to show you. And Sid, you want to talk about like maybe, how folks can pay for things and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah.
If they want them?
Absolutely. We'll have a few things for sale tonight. I'm sure a lot of you have been here before, but if you're not familiar, we have our Cash App and our Venmo. Just send us an email after the show with everything that you've purchased, and we will get you taken care of. We do also do the PayPal, and that is GuyGilchristMusic@gmail.com.
So what do we got, Sid? What do you want to do first?
Let's see. Why don't you talk about how you got started with the turtles?
Okay. So this was in the late 80s, and Jim had just given me my wings. I wasn't doing the strip anymore. That ended in 86. And so I was doing mostly the Muppet Babies and Fraggles for Jim at that point, and also helping out on any toy or anything like that. But because of what I did for Jim, the studio had gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. I didn't do all the stuff that came out of the studio. I had a hand in every single thing, and I would do the finished painting, the inking, the colored line on pretty much everything, not even because I wanted to, but because all of the other people at the studio were scared, to do like the color. You see how there's colored line that's on the airbrush? Well, you see, the airbrush piece would all be done, and now it needed the final details. And everyone that worked with me that was a good painter or artist, they didn't want to screw up, And they were like, if we screw up on a finished piece of artwork, the boss is going to kill us. And, and no matter how much, I would tell them how much I trusted them and everything, there was very little of that, So, especially with the characters, sometimes I could get guys to work on the backgrounds, the trees or the buildings or this and that. But anyway, so we had a whole bunch of people, and I kept adding people, not just because we were getting more and more and more work, but also, if I didn't have time to do a particular thing, and I knew of someone that wanted work and was looking for work, I would call them and offer them the job. So many times they would be at my studio and I wouldn't be getting a piece of it. But then there would be those times after they had done a couple of jobs with me and they'd be at the studio, they'd go, hey, you know, I really like the atmosphere. And it really was a very fun atmosphere. We had a lot of work to do, very, very much like Jim and his people at 117 and in London. We had so much to do, and there was so much pressure that we played pranks on each other and horsed around a lot, you know, because they were long days. Anyway, by about, I guess that was 87, the Turtles, right? 87?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about it. And one of our so we had a couple of really big companies that we worked with, Scholastic, Grosset, and also Random House. Roberta Purcell from Random House called me up one day and she said, you're not going to believe this. Now, let me preface this again by saying I had a tendency to say no to stuff I thought was gross. Okay? Like, no matter how much I loved Universal Monsters and stuff like that, you weren't going to catch me drawing, you know, Cabbage Patch, Garbage Pail Kids, or, you know, the bloody ghouls of blah, 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 or whatever was going on. Because there was a lot of sick stuff, you know, in kids' programming. And I was sort of the king of cute. I wanted everything that I did to be a specific sort of thing, you know? So I had a habit of turning stuff down. I did turn down stuff. Like I would turn down things that I thought were ripping us off. Like even though I eventually became Warner Brothers art director, I wouldn't do baby Looney Tunes because they were just stealing from us. And Muppet Babies, you know. And I know a lot of you like them. That's great. I didn't do them though. I had my own sort of standards. So when Roberta calls me up and she says, God, you're not going to believe this. There's this thing called Teenage Mutilated Ninja Turtles. Mutilated. Teenage Mutilated Ninja Turtles. And I'm going like, what are you talking about? She says, okay, I don't have a picture, but listen to this. ABC just gave them like a 4 pilot deal or something. Get this. So these 4 little turtles, and they walk through some kind of toxic goop, and they turn into superheroes, and they live in, they get mutilated somehow in this stuff, and now they're hacking people up with swords and all kinds of ninja junk and doing karate, and they live in the sewer, and their boss is a rat. I'm going, stop. Getting off the bus. I'm getting off the bus. No. We're laughing. And anyway, that's like the end of it, right? So about 2-3 weeks later, this guy calls me. He's from Jersey. And he talked like, you know, Central Casting, you know, out of Jersey, right? You know, is this guy Francis Gilchrist? Why is the mob calling me? Is my first thought. You know, didn't I do enough of those Knights of Columbus birthday parties for the little kids out on Long Island? I mean, you know, what's going on here? I always got along with the mob, you know. I worked in New York. And I'm going like, yeah, this is me. Who are you? Well, it's a little guy. I'm like, I couldn't understand if he was saying turtle or toilet. It was sort of in between. I went, wait a minute. You mean the mutilated turtles that live in the sewer? He says, they're not mutilated, they're mutated. It's cute. And he starts to go on and on, saying that, you know, come on, you're the guy, you know, come on, you know, you're the only one with the skill set. You got the skills, okay? Just don't kill me here, you know, I got nowhere to go, you know? It turned out he was a really nice guy. And he was the owner or the head salesman, whatever it was, for the Playmate Toys Company, which, as we all know, or maybe you do, that was the first turtle toy company. And so he said, would you please, he said, please, he says, Peter and Kevin, the boys, they got too much going on. They don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. You know, you got the TV, you got the toys. It's a lot. Come on, you know how to do this stuff, right?
Let's hear.
So, don't know if it's going to come in threes or fours because we're doing turtles. But anyway, so basically what he was saying was Kevin and Peter Eastman were, and they had gotten together, and they were fans of mine, and they knew that I did television, toys, and books, and would I help them? And I still thought it was gross. I didn't say yes. He said, can I send over the pilot, or at least, you know, some of the storyboards that we're working on? I said, okay. He got it to me same day from Jersey. And I looked at it and I said, you know, I kind of like this thing. And, you know, of course I saw them, and they were starting to switch them out from the really scarier ones to the cuter ones. And that's kind of where I came in. And, you know, and I started to realize that, see, I drew this a long time ago. I forgot I did this. This was, you know, when the little turtles walk through the ooze, you know, and become who they are. Man, you did some digging on this.
I like that one.
So, you know, I read it, the scripts, and I said, geez, you know, I kind of like these guys. You know, they kind of, in some ways, they're getting used to their powers, you know, their superpowers and their super brain. One of them is, you know, a goofball, They had, but it was sort of like there were four kids and a father that really wasn't their father, but he was teaching them stuff, and it reminded me of a show called Bonanza, where that used to happen pretty much every week. It was a Western, and Lauren Green played the father, and then there were Michael Landon and all the rest of the Cartwright boys. And they would go off and, you know, screw things up or whatever, but a lot of times they'd catch outlaws or something on the land, and they would straighten everything up, and at the end of the show, they'd be sitting there in the kitchen, and they had a very politically incorrect cook named Hop Singh, who would bring all the food out, and I was like, well, that's kind of them, like, you know, having pizza at the end of the show. And I agreed to do it, never knowing that it would last like all of these years, but it has. And my job was to, initially it was, well, I just do coloring books. That's what I accepted. But the truth of it was, there was no turtle color art for anything. And a lot of the artwork that I wound up doing for the covers, and Sid pulled a couple of these. We used to sell these as prints, and we don't anymore. A lot of you guys bring me these books. We did a ton of these. These paintings that I was doing, gosh, I'm sneezing my head off today. Achoo, excuse me.
Bless you.
These covers, and these are 3 of, I don't know, 4 of, I don't know how many we did. 20, 10, I don't know. But when I was painting these things, what I didn't know was they were the only painted turtles there was. So they put them on notebooks and trapper keepers and posters and every kind of thing, and a postcard book called Postcards from the Sewer, I think it was called. And it was piled on. And it was one of those jobs where they never asked me, could I draw the characters? They just handed them to me. And said, this is what we're sort of working on for the TV show. We're softening them up. Can you give us a hand with that? And then I was writing the first stories. So I worked hand in hand with the scriptwriters, and we started to soften things. You know, they were still bad guys, you know, but we surrounded the bad guys, you know, with the Three Stooges and that kind of thing, you know. You know, we had to have a way to make the characters seem like bad guys, but cartoon bad guys who, you know, weren't scary, which is kind of hard when, you know, your main guy just dresses in razor blades. But we worked it out, you know. So anyway, and Sid, you found a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, so I found this past weekend.
I drew this.
He drew that. I found it at a thrift shop. I thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were going to put my stuff on. They were really, really nice, though, in that as I would draw the stuff, if they got to deal with a toy company or something where they could reuse what I did, they always paid me again. They were great. You know, they didn't use, they might not ask, hey, can we put your stuff on cups and everything? Hey, you know, it was only Jim and Michael that did that kind of thing. You know, when you worked with anybody, they could put your artwork on anything. And they didn't pay you a second time, you know. Jim did sometimes. But the guys at Mirage Studios, that was the name of it, Mirage, they always did. We found these things a few years ago. These are like the sheath that you would put a sword in. And I guess we have some of these, don't we?
You do.
So this one's Sydney's. Sydney has, this is her own one.
That's from my personal collection.
Ah, the Sid collection.
Got all the turtles and the pizza.
Yeah, so Sid found a bunch of, she found some of these, and they were in the basement. And if anybody would like me to draw on one of these, like I just did here, you do it, Sid. I'm one-handed.
The one-handed wonder today.
Yeah. So if anybody would like, and by the way, they're not. We don't do full color on those, okay?
And they do not come with a sword, people.
Oh, right. Yeah, no sword. But they are really, really cool. And if you're, we thought that we would do sort of some turtle stuff at the beginning here. If you're into that, well, where else are you going to get it? And I'll wind up either drawing in gold or in silver, because that's what takes to that leather the best. We tried the color and it doesn't dry. That sometimes happens, the different kinds of leatherette and whatever. But if you would like one of those turtles, or you would like, for instance, if you would like one that had the Muppets on it. You know I did a couple that just had Piggy in the center with her hands out like this. Not good. Okay, you imagine. I'm mirroring. Imagine. Okay, I'm mirroring. Okay, where she's going, hi-ya! You know, and I'll probably draw, Beaker freaking out and Kermit freaking out about it, and sign that Jim Henson's Muppets on it. If you would like one of those to be mailed to you, we will be happy to do that, because I'll be going through rehab and stuff until the end of next week. And then I'm home for a couple of weeks before we head out, so you guys can get those. What do you think we should sell them for, Sid? What do you think?
Ooh.
Like, well, I mean, I don't know where else you'd get that. That's just sort of an oddball-y kind of a thing. I would say maybe $120. $120, yeah, and that'll be including the shipping.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States, guys, okay? Because it's going to have to go into some sort of a long tubey kind of a thing, I think, for us to mail it to.
We have the original boxes,
Oh, we do?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
so we can take care of that for sure.
Okay, so that'll be the first thing, and
Do you
Yeah,
want-
so then just indicate when you send your Venmo in or you send your Cash App or your PayPal, just indicate, yeah, you want all 4 turtles, and don't say, I want all 4 turtles and all of the bad guys, and can you draw, April looking really sexy and blah, 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 and I'll say, yes, and that'll be $1,000, okay? But if you'd like something like, with 4 turtle heads or something like that, or I'll throw a few Muppets together on it. And that's really a neat thing. That was a deal that I had with a wonderful company called Ronin out of Texas. And this was around 10 years ago. I did a bunch of those. They sold them on, Amazon, on QVC, and all of that. And they went like that. And we had about 100, I did about 100 different things for them. And then I didn't even know it, but we had a box of some of those down there. So if you're a turtle fan or you know a turtle fan, by the way, we're going to do a lot of turtles tonight. Who's with us? Do you know?
Yeah, who all is watching
hi,
right now?
Bruce.
I said,
Bruce, I'm doing fine. I'm just on the DL for a couple of days.
we got Jody, Travis, Shane, Michael.
Yay! Guys, your support means so much to me, and thank you so much. The reason that I keep going is, number one, I have no life. I absolutely love what I do, and I look at everything as a blessing. This being down a little bit lets me finish a lot of stuff. That sort of goes off to the side. So, okay.
I have a
and
turtle.
we got these, yeah. So we've only got like one copy of each of these.
Do you want to do a set of all 5 of these?
Yeah, you want to just sell somebody the whole 5?
All 5 for 100?
Sure, I'll do that. Okay, all 5 for 100.
You get these are all discontinued as well. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he'll
we
sign
don't
these
have,
for
we don't
you.
have them anymore.
Yeah, these are really
Because
cool.
we would take photographs of these things and clean them up and whatever. Yeah, so those are all the first turtle color paintings that were ever done. Were done by me. And then there was this wacky one this was a commission, I think, with the turtles going through the guy just wanted a picture of the turtles going through the ooze, and I'm like, that's gonna be boring, When I drew it the first time in the book, way back in the day, it was kind of boring. I said, but I got an idea, and so I made the toxic fume.
It's like a genie in a lamp, but
Yeah. Then I wound up really liking the drawing. God, I forgot all about this. That's crazy.
So
That's crazy.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when they did the turtle movie,
Yeah. Which turtle?
the first one, the first
one,
live action turtle movie.
Yeah.
Did they work with anybody from Muppet Studios, considering they were all big puppets?
Yes. So, by that time, by the late '80s, Jim and his Creature Shop had begun to lend their talents and their expertise to other companies. The first, of course, very famously, being Yoda. And so, more and more, people were reaching out to Jim, and that was definitely right up Brian Henson's alley as well. Brian, to me, he's sort of this film and special effects gearhead. He's just like his dad. He wants to know how everything works and always fiddling with stuff. And so I know that Jim had a huge hand. Also Fozzarus, that was Jim's main guy. Don Salin had been going for a long time by then. And Brian, they built all of that stuff, all of the costumes, and created those heads that really had a lot of expression, in them. And one of the things that really brings a tear to my eye is seeing that that the movie is dedicated to Jim Henson because he passed away. They were making that. But yes, that's Jim's creativity and technology brought to you, through Brian. A lot of people always ask, like, are they doing anything anymore? Why aren't they doing more? And this and that. Well, you're not paying attention. Brian and the Creature Shop do a lot. And they are the greatest special effects and puppetry people in the entire world. I'm a big, big fan of Brian's. What do we got next?
Let's see. Let me go down my list of questions.
Okay.
Let's see. So, what were some of your memorable fan interactions from this past weekend? Or of all time? But you were just in Dallas.
Can I do this weekend?
You can do this weekend. You're just in Dallas.
Okay. Yeah, because one of them was, it had something to do with, oh man, talk about a scary movie. You know that Five Nights at Freddy's movie?
Mm-hmm.
So this little girl, she's like 11, and she built like an entire, Freddy costume. She did it all by herself. It was the first time she had ever built anything that big. She showed me some other puppets that she was working on, and she was doing phenomenal. And so I brought her around the booth, and I started teaching her the magic triangle, which is, the placement of the eyes and the nose. Hey, Rolf Toy, come here. Oh, hi, how you doing? I'm the toy. By the way, I'm Guy's favorite toy. He really is. Mark Hamill's favorite toy. No, that stuff, that Star Wars stuff, I'm his favorite toy. So, the magic triangle is how we place the eyes and the nose on a head, which gives the Muppets and Henson characters the distinct look that they have. It was created by Jim because he didn't want to have the eyes like directly in the center of things, because the characters would always look like they were staring. And Jim looked at puppets and marionettes and ventriloquist dummies and all of that, and he found that the more that he sort of tweaked inward, he could get glare off the eyes, and also by painting them and sanding them and matting them down a little bit, he could get the glare off the eyes, and the more that he made them just a little bit cross-eyed, that they were cute, and that the characters were more lovable. And remember, in the early days, that was really important, because so many of the characters were monsters. So anyway, I taught this little girl about the magic triangle and gave her the piece of paper and gave her my email and said, if there's anything I can do for her. I said, what do you want? What do you really want to do? And she said, well, I want to work for Henson. And I said, well then, start. You've already started. Now let's keep going. And I thought that was great. She had a goal. She didn't say, like, well, I want to be a puppeteer and I'm not really sure where I'm going with this or whatever. She said, well, I want to be a puppeteer and I'd like to work for Henson, the Henson Company. And I thought that was great. And I give her big, big props for that, knowing where she wants to go. There was another, we had quite a few nice interactions. The actress Heather Graham. I just watched a great movie of hers. It was called The Exterminators. Have you guys seen that? Oh my gosh, it's got like an all-star cast, and it's really really funny. It's about a bunch of girls that these women that all have like rotten guys in their lives, and so a couple of them decide they have an exterminating business anyway, so they decide to exterminate the bad abusive husbands and boyfriends and stuff. And it's a real black comedy. It was great. But anyway, Heather has stopped over the Muppet Theater the last couple of shows that we've been at together, and we've started to become fast friends. And I love to hear the stories of what Kermit and the Muppets mean to you. You guys, that's what means the most to me, you know? And that's why I do it. So yeah, oh my God, Dallas was crazy. We also had like the cosplay that I see, it absolutely blows my mind. You know, I wasn't doing so much Muppet design of walkarounds when I was working with Jim. I was learning by going down in the basement and watching the incredible things that Bonnie Erickson was doing, that Michael was doing, and you know, I wound up, you know, designing a whole bunch of characters though, like right after that. You know, mascot characters in Japan and all over the country for baseball, and you know, characters for even stores and all of that good stuff. And so I started to learn, you know, about the different factors in costumes, and what I see happening with, you know, the 3D printer, which has really changed everything. But the hard work that people put into their cosplay, it blows my mind. The last couple of weekends with Philly and Dallas, you know, I've seen gorgeous, just a gorgeous dress where this girl was Sarah, you know, from Labyrinth, and she made it, like all herself. And the beaker that I saw the other day was awesome. And, you know, there are some that are super professionally made, and then there's some that look like, you know, homemade. Got no money? Here we go. And I gotta say that that's kind of my favorite. Because when I got no money, but here I go, you know. That little girl with the Five Nights at Freddy's, her mom told me that took her like 5 months. Now that's a kid that's gonna make it.
Do you have, what advice do you have for someone like her wanting to get into the business?
Do it. Like, many of you know that I wrote Walter Lantz a letter when I was 10 years old, told him I wanted to go to work for him. And I was 10. And he wrote me back. And he told me that if I kept on practicing, and if I kept on keeping on, and I never ever quit, that someday I was going to be a successful cartoonist. And within 6 years, I had a job, my first freelance job with Whitman Publishing, doing Disney coloring books. I've talked to person after person that wrote a letter as a child to Jim, and Jim responded. Don't dream about it without doing something about it. That little girl, I want to work for Henson. I said, well, you should look up on the computer what is the address of the Jim Henson Company in Los Angeles. and take all of these photos of the stuff that you've done, tell them your age, tell them what you want to do, and send the letter. I am a really big believer in no excuses. Look, I'm doing the show today. No excuses. What did Walter tell me all those years ago? Keep on practicing. You're gonna get good. You try really hard, and what? Don't quit. Never ever quit. Your initial question was, how do you get into it, right? Right? How do you get into what you want to do? Here's what I don't get. If you want to work for Disney or Warner Brothers or Jim's company or whatever it is you want to do, whatever company you want to work for, or you want to start your own company, but you have to work for somebody else first and figure everything out. Not just how to do the projects, but also how do you run that business, right? Well, why aren't you going directly to that company with what you have and asking for a job? Are you afraid of getting turned down? Well, if you're afraid of getting turned down, don't get out of bed. Because 99 times out of 100, it might not work out for you. So you need to do a few things. Number one, believe in yourself. And give yourself something to believe in about yourself. Don't just believe in yourself and think that that's enough. But what are your work ethics? What are your habits? You have a regular job, but you want to do this. Well, then pretend that you already are doing this. There was a time that I was working at bars and restaurants and warehouses, and yet I made time all the time doing the artwork and mailing my samples out and driving to New York. I literally am going to write an entire book about never giving up. And there's a little part of it in the memoir, but as we were doing it, Dan and Christina said, Guy, there's not going to be too much more room for Muppets if you keep on telling people, how to do it. Because I want so many people to succeed. There are 365 days a year for you to quit. You got lots of reasons. Your car blew up. You got a loan payment to make. You got this, you got that. It's called life, kids. But if you want this, in your college or wherever you are in your life, you have to specifically spell out what it is you want, and then do something each and every single day to further that. Perfect example. Right now, I can't draw. So what did I do today? Well, besides go to the doctor and get all this done, yesterday and today. Well, I worked on my convention appearances, and I worked on my tour schedule, and I paid bills, and I made lists of things that I'm going to do the minute that this is okay. And I reached out to a bunch of different people that I'm working with. So I took where I was and what I was capable of doing, and I did it. Okay? Okay.
You got about 10 minutes left on Facebook.
Okay. So what are we gonna? Okay. Let's sell some things then.
You want to sell some things?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. I think we want to. All right. If I draw and sign this, okay, I'm gonna draw on it.
It's a retro
sign it.
Turtles cup.
What's it going for, Sid?
Let's see. What year is this? On 89?
Yeah.
Let's see.
So this is an original
Yeah,
one.
89.
89.
A turtle and a signature. What you want to do? $50?
Oh, no. No. I don't think so. Okay, let's go crazy. 60.
60.
60.
60.
Okay.
60 for the turtle cup.
Okay. What else you got, Sid?
All right. Do you want to go through your book?
Oh, yeah. We're doing turtles today, guys. But let me show those two things that we don't sell anymore, the Muppets and the...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So here, we have this that we don't sell anymore, guys. And so, usually the prints are 40. So I'll just say, if you want this one, we don't sell it anymore. That'll be 20. Okay?
That one's really cute.
Yep. Half. That'll be half. So that'll be 20 signed to you. Just do the Venmo or whatever it is there. And then I really loved this painting when I did it all those years. I did this around 7 or 8 years ago. And we don't sell this one anymore either. Things come and go. I forgot I did it. The original was quite a bit larger than this print. I think it was about an 11 by 14 drawing. So anyway, again, we'll just say 20, which will be half.
$20
Okay.
for the
For
turtle
change.
ball.
Yep. Okay, and now, the turtles, to be honest with you, the turtles, they sell really good online. But I've had quite a few of these in the book for quite some time. And so we're going to, if you love turtles, or you have a brother or a son or grandson or whatever that loves the turtles, these are going to be the very, very best prices on the originals that we've ever given. Because normally the 5 heads like this picture, is like $450 to $500, right? And anyway, if you want this picture tonight, it will be $250.
$250.
That's it. And so if you want it, buy it. That's it. Goodbye. Here we go. Okay, April. It's $250 for that, and that'll be $125. Okay, I'm just going nuts. Okay, $65 for this Leo head. Okay, 65. Oh, I got one more of these. It'll be $250. Same thing. Okay, I've got that'll be $100 for the April. Okay, and I'm just going to keep on going with this. Okay, we've got this one's Michelangelo with giving the thumbs up, and that'll be $100. You guys know what you're paying for these.
You're a little crazy tonight.
I'm insane. Okay, $125 for Donatello with his staff. Okay, I'll go. These are full body ones, and these are usually very, very expensive. So $150 each. We've got Leo, full size, Raph, full figure there. It looks like we don't have Donnie full size. And we've got Mikey, full size. Okay, here's another Donnie. And we'll go 110. Okay, and here we go. The black and whites. These are sepia. Okay, so we got sepia, Raph, $80. I'll go 125 for Leo, sepia. Ooh.
I am the shredder.
Okay. Cheapest shredder in full color ever, $150. Okay, I've got another Leo head. We'll just say 60. Okay? 60. Oh. April full figure, pretty much, the stuff the stuff the kids like. Okay, and I'll just say 150. Okay? Okay, I do have a full color Mikey here in sepia. And guys, here, $100. Come on, you know what you're paying for that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you'd be paying $1.50 for that, just any moment, any day. Okay, 100 for shredder, 2-color. It's blue shredder. Call that. Okay, we've got a Donnie. It's a nice Donnie. That's a really nice Donnie. Okay, $80. Just put Donnie with purple background. Oh, I got a Roth. Okay, same thing, same price. Okay, got a Roth. Ooh, he's ready to fight. Okay, this is 125. That's, guys, that's 250. You know it's 250. Okay, and I'll do the same thing. There you go. There's the Leo. Okay. 125 for this Mikey. By the way, if you see little things like this, that's just on the paper. Not on the paper. It's on the plastic. They're all perfect. Speaking of perfect, April 125, and 125 for Cowabunga Dude
With the pizza.
with the pizza. Okay, that's the turtle book.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And yeah, we really wanted to bring turtles out. I really like to sort of, turn things over when I possibly can. And just remember, that Christmas and different holidays show up. Thank you for hanging out with us. You guys have been wonderful, and thank you. And I know I'm going to get a whole bunch of notes saying, I hope you feel better. And there's already been, I know, a lot of things. I hope you feel better. And you know what? I will. And if you are waiting on anything, hang in there. And, sometimes the machine needs some oil. I really love you guys, and it's been great to spend some time with you. And we're heading over to Instagram in a couple of minutes, so we'll see you there. Or maybe we won't. But if you have any questions, reach out to us, and we always do our best to follow up with you. Thank you for all of the really, really kind letters that you sent about the way that we mail things. And if you aren't subscribed to the Muppet newsletter on our website, GuyGilchrist.com, what are you doing? Where is your head at? Because that will tell you where I'm going to be. And also, like we sent it out today. We had some stories, some photos. We gave something away, something really, really. There's always a giveaway. We give something away, and then we have some crazy bargain thing that you can only get through there. We don't sell your information to anyone, and we don't bombard you with stuff. It's the Muppet Fan Club. Just go over to the website and subscribe. And thanks again for being a part of the Facebook group, the Instagram group, wherever you are. We are getting to be around 150,000 strong across the platforms. That's a lot of Muppet kids trying to make the world a better place. The Muppet universe loves everyone and everything. We didn't start off, Jim never started off with the idea we're going to be inclusive because it's something to do. Jim looked at humankind as this incredible piece of art where everyone from every country in every color, loving everyone that they loved and anyone that they loved, and doing the things that they loved, all as an incredible celebration of what life and art is all about. And that's what the Muppet Universe is all about. I love you all.